Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a patch note review for the latest update for Dota Underlords. This is a massive one. It took me over 10 minutes to read just what's happening, and it's quite overwhelming. I'm just going to scroll down just to show you guys how comprehensive it is. There's alliance changes, item changes, rotation of units, new units added, new combinations, new synergies, and change of existing units. Oh boy, it's a pack full. So I won't go through everything in detail because, not just be reading it to you, right? I'll go through what we tested on stream and what we realized was pretty interesting. First off, there's a rank reset. So if you happen to be at a higher grade level for Big Boss, you'll be downgraded one level lower. So Big Boss goes to Boss and, Lord goes to Big Boss. You'll be starting at Big Boss 1 or Boss 1 or, the one of the first tier. You can't lose any ranking at that tier. So just feel free to test a little bit on ranked if you want. Also test on the casual games because you can't lose lower, so testing is really good at the start. Classic mode is nice, and we're going to try that a little bit. We haven't tried it now because everyone tries this, the old mode with everyone tries the existing mode with Underlords. So new heroes. Vengeful Spirit is a Fallen. What is a Fallen? Let's quickly go to that. It's one of the new alliances added to the game. A few alliances are removed, so the ones that's added is Fallen. So when you have 3 Fallens on the board, you actually heal your entire team and give them an extra damage, 10% extra damage for magic and attack damage. And if you have 6 of them, they actually revive once. So it's incredibly strong with 6, but very powerful with 3 already. I was facing hunter teams, I was using that for mage teams. It's very good for all the teams because of the bonus damage and the heal. Shamans is really fun here. Now, previously the Shamans used to turn enemies into a chicken. Now the Shamans actually summon a unit. And depending on each of the Shaman unit you're using, they actually buff the unit you summon by different spells. So for example, if you have a Beastmaster on the team as one of the Shamans that summon the unit, the monster you summon will actually benefit. Every 4 seconds you will gain attack speed. If you have Lone Druid on the team, the summon units will lifesteal for the Lone Druid, while Lone Druid lifesteal for the summon unit. If you have Enchantress, the summoned unit will have a chance of slowing attackers by 80% attack speed. So different Shamans actually buffs the summon unit themselves. The summon unit also have skills that innately they have a skill, and also if you have a Nature's Prophet, they'll also gain another skill. Very fun to play. Swordsman. Since we're going for the new alliance, we're going to touch on the Swordsman as well. So going for Shamans, just a quick note on that. What we tried is, a little bit everywhere. So a tip for each alliance if you want to play them. I recommend going for Fallens on 3 Fallens at the start, then combine with maybe 3 Hunters, maybe go with Mages, maybe go with something that branch into Hunters. So that's the tip. I was managed to make the 3 Fallens, 6 Mages, and 2 Dragons and 4 Humans work for the Fallens. For the Shamans, I definitely recommend going for 4 Savages for the Shamans, and after 4 Savages, you build the Shamans after. You don't rush the Shamans to 4 at the start because there's a lot more damage coming from the Savages, boosting the damage of the summoned units. And then you can go for 4 Shamans, you can go for level 9 with 4 Summons, 4 Savages, and 6 Shamans. After that, because you have Shadow Shaman on the team, go for level 10 for the Chocolate for the attack speed and a single target focus. Swordsman. Swordsman is, if you know the German techniques, Ju actually gains armor for each enemy units around him, and Swordsman is the reverse of offensive mechanics. They will at least gain 10% damage because they are melee units, so 10% for just one unit next to them. After that, cap up to 25% for each of the enemy unit. It doesn't seem much at the start, but if you think about the units that blink to the backline like the Phantom Assassin and Ember Spirit, this is when things get very interesting, because they'll be exposed to 2 or 4 enemy units and they will be doing a lot more damage. Rogue is also very interesting because it's a combination of assassins and swordsmen that are also a rogue, and this is when stacking evasion is extremely useful. We'll talk about the combos of plays we can play with those. So as for Rogue, the Bounty Hunter is a very interesting rogue. If you get Bounty to 3-star, he will actually gain 1 gold each time he kills a unit. And because Rogue evade attacks, the starting items like Talisman of Evasion for bonus 25 evasion, 25%, and then you have the Heaven's Helpet for another 25%. It's a new item. It's over here, Heaven's Helpet, 25%, and then you have Butterfly for the evasion. If you have 4 rogue and the evasion item, the unit is almost invulnerable to normal attack because it's so much evasion. You also gain damage each time you evade. So what other builds you can go with Swordsman and Rogue? You got to keep in mind the critical unit for Swordsman and Rogue is actually Phantom Assassin. Once she's 3-star, she can actually enjoy the current level of Rogue Alliance, so she becomes a Swordsman, she becomes a Rogue, she's also an Assassin. She gets the benefit of all 3 alliances. And what you can do is, I'll post a game for that of course, she can go with the 6 Swordsman, 4 Rogue, and after that, just add anything that goes, which will be the Assassins. So 3 Assassins, 4 Rogue, and 6 Swordsman. Keep in mind there's a tier 3 item which will allow you to turn a unit into a Swordsman, the Pirate Head. Having that means you can complete this build at level 8, it's very powerful. And I do recommend not going for 3-star Juggernaut at the start unless you get super lucky on him, or unless you're not contested. Going for the 2-star Sven and 2-star Alchemist later for the Rogue is actually really good, and just benefits us greatly with a cleave with a minus armor. After that, Poisonous. Poisonous will reduce the enemy attack speed per normal attack, and it sounds okay, but what I do find is, if you're going out of your way for the Poisonous, you might want some Heartless because poison is physical damage, and the reduce of attack speed is nice, but if enemies are mages or if enemies overwhelm you with summon units, it might not be that powerful. So this is one of the alliances I haven't tested thoroughly, so let me know if you guys know how to use it properly. Lastly, Magus. Magus is only for 1 unit. This is the Rubik. Rubik is a tier 4 unit. It's a mage that has a spell casting which burst damage the enemy multiple units and reduce the attack damage. Also, Rubik will steal a random spell in a fight and he will use that. I recommend using Rubik a little more forward in your front line, and he gets damaged, he becomes invulnerable for 3 seconds, get time to cast, and he kinda do his thing. You can have him in the back, but if you have him in the back, the Grand Magus won't activate, and the 3-second invulnerable to attack at the end of the fights is kinda useless. So Rubik is quite good. And coming back to it, if I'm playing Magus, I also go for the 6 mages. I might go for 2 or 4 humans, and I'll actually consider to go with the dragons with Puck and Dragonite. It's very powerful. I know we're skipping to the alliance, so now we're going to come back to some of the new heroes. Now that we spoke about the alliance, it may be easier to understand new heroes. Meepo is a rogue summoner. It seems very potent at the start of the game, for me at least. But see how Meepo is a melee unit, and Meepo will die very quickly in the fights if he's not protected. I'm still a little skeptical whether we can use Meepo effectively. If you go for Rogue, best thing to go is the Swordsman. If you go Summoner, the best thing to go is the Shamans. So Meepo is in a hard spot right now. We'll definitely try a 3-star Meepo, but I need to know more of the balance for the Meepo. Spirit Breaker is quite a good stunner for the team, and because he's a Brute and Savage, you can use him on the 4 Brute or the 4 Savage alliance, and I do think he's one of the cheaper and more effective Savage for us to use. The 3-star effect is not a massive chance. I haven't got him to 3-star, so I'm not sure, but I think you don't really need Spirit Breaker for the single target lockdown. It's more for the AoE charge that stuns enemies. Let me get some tea. And here there, Death Note, or company. So, Spectre. Oh, this one's interesting. I've seen Spectre at work. It's actually incredibly powerful. I didn't notice much how strong Spectre is. The Spectral Dagger goes through enemies and Spectre hunts and goes for a unit. The attack speed Spectre gets is actually incredible. You just see her swing those blades non-stop. At 3-star, while Spectre is alive, all demons, which usually just her by herself, if you have NS6, you actually enjoy 3 of 2 demons, because NS6 summons 1 or 2 demons. So sometimes you might have 4 demons with 1 extra demon. So at 3-star, Spectre turns demons into fire, and they do additional damage. It's kind of AoE fire, and I really want to try 3-star Spectre. It's very powerful, and someone also said the 3-star BKB Spectre is actually just wipes the whole team. So I want to try that. Definitely thinking of picking NS6 with Spectre just to buff up the demons, because NS6 summon a demon archer and she can summon a demon golem or enthrall enemies into demons. That's just when you buff the Spectre. You can also go for the Void Alliance for Spectre. Death Prophet. One of the very OP alliance in the current meta is Fallen. You can go with anything with Fallens. And Death Prophet is really good in terms of offensive and defensive capacities. If her Exorcism, which is a bunch of ghosts, it's similar damage to Radiance, but a little more focus based, and it's physical, I believe. So she works well with Heartless, and she is also Heartless. she also heals herself after the duration ends, so she can be a surprisingly good tank and damage dealer. Pango is a new unit. It's a Savage Swordsman. Initially I thought, hey, Pango is great because Shield Crash is very powerful in Dota 2, and what it does is for each unit Shield Crash hits, it's a wild AoE hit. It's a wild AoE damage like a Conquer Bolt, but it doesn't stun enemies, it just reduces his damage taken after. And the downside is Shield Crash is not that strong, Pango is not that tanky, and Pango doesn't do much. I'll actually have a Spirit Breaker over Pango for Savage. I'll actually have Sven over Pango because Sven is also a rogue. And if I can get the hat for Swordsman, I don't use Pango at all, because Pango seems to be a bait. I don't use Pango, I don't use Juggernaut. But if I have the choice, I use the 3-star Juggernaut if I can, or I use 2-star Pango. 3-star Juggernaut is too expensive though. That's when we go 6 Swordsman and 4 Rogue. The other Swordsman, which will be coming here with Wolf King, he is very powerful. How you imagine Wolf King is, level 1, he's a moving tomb. Level 2, he's like 3 moving tombs, because he gets... Level 1, he's a tomb with 1 radius of reviving zombies. Level 2, he's a tomb with 2 level radiance, 2 radiance, 2 AoE, and he revives everyone into zombies. So 2-star Wolf King with a tank item is unkillable and incredible. Really, really good. And we spoke about Rubik. Rubik's Fable would be a magic shot that damages enemies and reduces the attack. Rubik also spell steals. I've seen Rubik summoning things into wolves. I've seen Rubik does some pretty funny moments. So Rubik's definitely up there. Now, some of the units that's returned and that's actually kind of buffed up. Anti-Mage is a rogue hunter. I tend to use Anti-Mage as one of my 4 rogues for the swordsman. Easy to get, very powerful in the start of the game, and because he evades units, he's actually a really good frontline. Best item for Anti-Mage is something that gives him evasion. So Talisman, Heaven's Halberd, and also Butterfly is not bad. Bounty Hunter is a really good tier 1 unit for 3-star. If you get Bounty Hunter like before round 10 and he gets a lot of kills, each kills he gets, you get 1 gold for it. It's like a Midas or even stronger. But the downside is a lot of people do go for him. If you get him late in the game, he's kind of useless. Enchantress, well, the untouchable effect is for the summon unit. So I guess before that the untouchable effect is for the summon unit, now the untouchable effect is to slow her attackers. Enchantress is very squishy, so I'm not sure how Enchantress is going to slow people though, because she dies too fast. Phantom Assassin is a tier 1 unit, one of the star units for this update. She is incredibly strong, and because she becomes a rogue once she's 3-star, she gets out of control. I'm seeing her one-shotting people, and we'll have videos of that too. Conquer used to be a tier 4. He became tier 2 with lower stats, with less damage and lower stun duration, but naturally he is still stronger than tier 2. So I usually go for Conquer just because how good he is. The stun is great. If you get him to 3-star, well, he just wrecks people with Typebringer. It's not a massive damage, but you can notice the damage, and his damage does go up. Alchemist. I've actually seen people playing Alchemist with 4 rogues and he gets the evasion, and then if Alchemist gets something like a Radiance or like a tanky item, he can tank very nicely, and he also increases his damage by quite a bit. Now 3-star Alchemist is interesting because of the Chemical Rage, but I didn't see the Alchemist just destroy people with that. Maybe he didn't have a battle free, maybe he didn't, he wasn't like doing much, he was having a cracky code, so that was lowering his attack speed. So I think 3-star Alchemist is nice, but he needs a better item. And maybe Radiance, maybe battle free here. Puck is back, still very powerful and still very OP. Because Puck is a dragon and you only need 2 dragons, so go with Puck and Viper for the mage at the start. Then lose the Viper for 2-star Dragonite, and oh boy, just watch the little lasers shoot out of Puck, and Puck is so good. I haven't got a chance to try 3-star Puck, but it's very powerful. Lena as a tier 4 mage without the Fire Soul and without the 3-star effect, it's like, you want those 4 mages? No, take Lena. I would prefer 3-star Crystal Maiden, but a 2-star Crystal Maiden versus 2-star Lena, just go with Lena. You don't need to stun enemies if they're already dead from Lena, right? So Lena can replace Crystal Maiden. What I do for mages is I go for Conquer, Dragonite, Keep Off the Light, and also Lena or Crystal Maiden. But before you find the Dragonite, before you find the Keep Off the Light, just use Lena and Crystal Maiden, and then get Conquer and get someone else. We talk about the Fallen, new items. Cracky Code, it's a neutral item from Dota 2, so 15 armor minus 30 attack speed, that's 30% of your current attack speed. If you're hitting for 2 attacks per second, they will minus you even further. So what you do is give to the front line that doesn't need attack speed. You gain mana from taking damage, you just tank up. 15 armor is actually a lot. Heavens Help It, very good item from the dodge units like the rogue. And also the disarm is so good for anti-mage. Anti-mage wants to min fight people. He can't do that unless enemies don't kill him, right? So if he disarms them, they just stand there and he just goes and just kills them. Monkey Kimba is the counter to the dodge units because you cannot miss. So Monkey Kimba is definitely great for units like Hunters, Medusa, units that multi-shot, or units that can stay there and just do damage. Necronomicon is definitely one of the very broken items that we have discovered. Units that cast multiple times like Bristleback, units that like Venomancer, or units like the Storm Spirit. You summon 2 brutes. The brutes don't have much HP, about 650. They have 1 attack per second, very fast, and they also bash enemies at 25%. It's a 25-15, but they're very good. Because for Storm, he leaves one behind as it flies off. They kill that one, he leaves one behind as it flies off. Then they kill that one, they can just keep summoning. If they don't kill enough, he just out-summons you. Paladin Sword is a pretty legit item. Not bad for the team because allied healing is increased by 20%. And the damage is nice. It's like life-stealing item, but it doesn't life-steal for you. So it's okay. It's not the game changer for us. Parahat is really good if you're playing Swordsman. It's useless if you don't play Swordsman. So I was hoping more items like those, but because if you don't play Swordsman, I'm hoping those items won't appear if you don't play Swordsman. Because it just ruins the pool, right? So that's to be said, but it's actually a fine item if you play Swordsman, really good. What is Shaco? 1000 HP, but the cost of 50 less mana. What you want to think is, you either give to a unit that doesn't have mana gain, like Jorringer, Bloodseeker, Luna. Bloodseeker's gone. Lifestealer. Is Lifestealer still there? Lifestealer's still there, yeah. So, units that doesn't need much mana, or units that only gets to summon once, or do spellcasting once, like Terrorblade or Longdred, because they only get to do things once, they don't need more mana after. Although they do cast a little slower. Also give to tank units like Viper, which is really good. Viper have defensive capacities, slows enemies, and having 1000 HP just means, well, you stay longer and it just annoys people for longer. There's some basic hero changes, not a big one, but the biggest one is definitely Lich. Lich is no longer a legendary, it's a tier 1 unit, so you get a Force Shield. A 3-star Lich still get the Chain Force, which is kind of broken, but before that the Force Shield is really good. I recommend going for mages with the barricades. The new barricades, I need to find that for you guys. Where did it go? So, new barricades. You only get 2 barricades now, but they are invulnerable. You can't break them. So if you path yourself correctly, only one can pass. If you path yourself correctly and hide your archers or mages in the corner, no one can get to you. The range damage is reduced and also no one can hit you. So it's a really, really powerful item for the major hunters. Coming back to the Lich. So Lich can kind of shield the unit at the gate of the barricade and no one can pass and it freezes them too. So really fun to play. Changes for Slaughter, Magus, not too major. Juggernaut is a tier 3 warrior to tier 2 swordsman. So Juggernaut is a little cheaper, which is good. Really good to know. Disruptor's gone. We had that on chat. I'll reply to chat here in a moment. So Legion Commander, the change that people stop hitting her when she's dueling, which is okay. Necessary Prophet, nothing too special. Queen of Pain is a poisoner. Not a big thing for me, to be honest. Abaddon is a Fallen Knight. I always forget. I was like, I need a Heartless. Then Abaddon is actually not a Heartless. It's a Fallen Knight. Ember Spirit is a Swordsman. So Ember Spirit is a Swordsman. Slack is 1 cost cheaper. And Slack gets a special synergy. So Slack is much needed. He's too expensive. And you can't make Slack work because he needs to be 3-star. So I'm liking the fact they changed Slack to tier 3. And that makes the assassins much more viable. And yes, I did play the Shaman Alliance, my friend Spark. Yes, I'll answer that question. So I played Shaman Alliance, I tried 6 Shamans, I tried the Black Dragon, it's very fun. Terrorblade's not Fallen. Terrorblade being a Fallen is actually pretty good, so you can go with Hunters and Fallens. He retains his Hunters, he's also a Demon, I believe. Is he a Demon? I need to double check. He should be a Demon, right? I did play the Terrorblade, but not for long. The Tremor Detector is a healer, nothing too special. Sven is no longer a Demon, so that I remember. Sven never was. Sven is no longer scaled. So Sven is no longer human, no longer scaled. He's a rogue and a knight and a swordsman. Viper is a tier 4 now, so keep that in mind. It's harder to get Viper, but he gets better stats. Keeper of the Light is a bigger change to Mage, so Keeper is the tier 5 legendary Mage, and it's very hard to get him to 2-star. Other than that, it's a nerf to the Brownies, buff to the Hunters, buff to the Knights, buff to Savages, I don't know why they don't like Brownies, buff to the Trolls, and lastly buff to the Warriors. In fact, Battle 3 is a little buffed, that's good to know. Usurper is massively buffed, it's like double the effect. It used to be you get Usurper for the effect of Mana Gain and also a bit of Cyclone, which is not guaranteed. With the buff of Usurper, it's like 2 Usurper fused into 1. It's really good. It's almost as good as a Usurper. So Headdress and Hood of Defiance does something at the start of the battle. Keep that in mind, so it gives you life gain and magic resistance. Cadence is buffed, which further nerfed the Brownies. I'm not sure why they do that. Maelstrom is kind of nerfed because right now Maelstrom is a tier 4 item. It's picked too often. Pipe is massively buffed. Pipe used to be 1 cell radius, 2 cell is incredibly strong. And the 250 shield means this is the item you need for mages. Let's cancel the party invite for now. And Vitality Booster is buffed, so everyone gets 250 health at the start of the battle. Vladimir is also nerfed, so it's a tier 5 item now. I was ready for Vladimir at tier 4, I never found it. Void Stone is nerfed, which is good, because tier 1 item is too strong. Rotated out, so what's gone? Arc Warden, Bloodseeker, Brewmother, Disruptor, so there's a bunch of them, which is good, because it brings new units to the party. Bloodbond is gone, so you cannot play Bloodbond with Mr. Warlock and go into Demons. But what you can play is, you can play Spectre, which is very fun. Items gone, nothing major. You have a moving Tombstone now with Wolfgain, so that's fine. So overall, what I want to highlight is this is a very fun patch, and because the ranking are locked to where they are, you can play rank games and have some fun with the rank games, and you can play the casual games. Discover what works for you. Currently, we're still testing, and what I found is really powerful is 3 of the Fallen, plus any combination is not bad. Go with the 6 mages, go with the 6 shamans if you want some fun, and try for some fun 3 stars. Give it a try and find out what works for you. So hopefully I explained some things after testing a few games, and hopefully it was clear enough and not too long for you guys. And really looking forward to the new patch. I'll be posting more videos and be spending more time streaming and making videos for those. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and let me know how you guys go with the patch as well.